Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
From snow to ice, San Antonio facing another deep freeze tonight. I'm Tim Gerber.
And I'm Myra Arthur. There continues to be problems with the power supply, staying warm, and the possibility of fires. We got some new video into our newsroom showing a fire on Gus Eckerd Road. This is on the city's northwest side.
The San Antonio Fire Department says the call was to a three-story apartment fire in that area. Firefighters say icy roads on a hill that leads up to that building is making it difficult for firefighters to access that apartment and fight the fire. We are told 3 patients are being evaluated by first responders on scene. So far, no word on what caused that fire.
It is a tough situation to be in tonight. There is that concern for ice developing on the roads and sidewalks. Take a look at another viewer video shared with us. The driveway here not only had snow, but some of that ice, it caused that man there to slip. He was able to get up, but not everyone's been so lucky. A spokesperson from University Health says their ER has seen many injuries due to slips and falls, some resulting in fractures and concussions. University says they've also seen patients with cases of hypothermia as well.
I felt that fall here. The freezing temperatures and slick surfaces also causing concerns on the roadways tonight. Here's a live look with TransGuide showing, fortunately, not many drivers out on the road heeding the warnings to stay home. Via also suspending service for tomorrow as a precaution.
This is a good scene when we're dealing with this potential for big problems out there, because looks can really be deceiving in these conditions. Let's check in with meteorologist Adam Caskey.
And that's the key, and that's what we call black ice. It looks like roadway, but really there's a light layer, a transparent layer of ice. And I wanted to go outside earlier today. This is about an hour ago outside KSAT, just to get an idea of what it was like even here on St. Mary's Street, from the sidewalk out to the road. Take a look at what I discovered. I could have kept going and going if I had the right momentum, but you see it's a mixture of a little bit of exposed pavement from the melt earlier today and the breeze drying it off, but mostly snow left over with ice, and that ice is the issue until the sun rises tomorrow. Once the sun comes up, it's going to bake those roads and sidewalks, and give it a few hours and we'll start to see a lot of melting on the roadways. But until then, expect widespread icy roads and significant icing in some spots, and that's why the hills can be a challenge. Temperatures right now down in the teens, still some 20s, Port SA, Castroville, and Hondo. We are going to be dropping down to near 10 degrees, and I think even into the single digits across a good portion of South Texas, so that hard freeze, record-breaking freeze tonight. Not a good situation for those without power. There is some warmer air in the extended forecast, but before we get to that, we could actually run into more icing. More ice actually falling from the sky again tomorrow night. So we're going to talk more about that in detail coming up.
Thank you, Adam. As you just showed us, the slush on the roadways that was slushy earlier tonight has turned back into ice, causing all sorts of problems. San Antonio police warning the icy roads have led to at least 3 deaths since Saturday. Many roads across San Antonio closed today, and residents encouraged to stay home. It doesn't appear everyone taking that warning to heart, though. SAPD says they responded to about 100 calls for weather-related accidents on Sunday.
They also received 30 calls for accidents from midnight to noon today. Those slick roads have kept the night team's Japhanie Gray at home on the far west side. She joins us now live by phone. So, Japhanie, you've been keeping an eye on what's happening on the roads out there, collecting that information, but we understand you just got power of your own after it being off for the entire day?
Yes, when I tell you, I literally got power about 20 minutes ago, and there isn't a better feeling. My lights have been out since 3 a.m., and then I spoke with a couple of my neighbors in the neighborhood. They said that their lights have been out since 11 last night. So it's pretty nice to see the neighborhood lit up again. Now, as far as accidents goes, there hasn't been much my way because a lot of people are not out and about getting out into wherever they want to go. I went out to QT earlier and noticed a lot of icy spots along Highway 90, but again, those icy spots kept families here enjoying some old school fun in the snow that was melting by the sun, which was out and about shining today. And though that was the case, TxDOT is stressing that we are not out of the woods yet as far as road conditions.
Once the sun goes down and it starts getting dark and the temperatures start dropping, there is that chance of ice forming. So we still are asking folks, just do not go out.
Since the winter weather was forecasted, it has been all hands on deck for TxDOT.
Besides our own TxDOT maintenance folks, we also have some of our contractors on some of our projects assisting us with helping us in this operation.
Laura Lopez with TxDOT says that they're using all of their resources to get the roads back open and safe again.
Our convoy has consisted of Chat Rock, and we do use Brian as well too, but we will be using that tomorrow.
Lopez says their main problem areas are the direct connectors, like Loop 1604 and Highway 281 and I-10 and 410. She says it's unclear when they can expect roads to be back opened or if they anticipate shutting down more as they are bracing for the melted snow to freeze into ice.
It's really hard to pinpoint that at this time. We are going to be continuing to monitor the road conditions. So this is an ongoing thing that will be going on throughout the night.
Lopez says it's best that you plan ahead if you have to leave your house tomorrow.
Monitor the weather conditions, find an alternate route, limit your travel if possible.
Now, the KSAT Traffic Authority will also be monitoring the roadways tomorrow morning, and the one and only Samuel King will be up with the rest of our team on GMSA beginning at 4 o'clock in the morning, give you all those updates. On the far west side, Jackie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks for the update, Japhanie. We're glad you have lights and some heat once again. It's not just the roads impacted by the weather. Flights were canceled today. Some others were delayed, but that won't be the case tomorrow. The city of San Antonio providing an update on Facebook tonight saying that all flights have been canceled for Tuesday, February 16th.
The weather also impacting the power situation once again. Take a look at the map tonight. More than 182,000 CPS Energy customers are impacted. They don't have power right now. That is a decrease from what we saw just after 7 o'clock this evening when more than 266,000 customers were impacted. The rotating outages will continue for at least the next 24 hours. That's the word from CPS Energy tonight as they ask customers to lower their consumption. The Night Team's Patty Santos talks to customers who are worried about how they'll make it through.
91-year-old guy, and we're not even prepared to handle this kind of. And as much as we pay into our electric usage every single month, CPS is so unprepared with anybody, with any type of customer service.
CPS Energy customers are angry, frustrated, and worried about the ongoing power outage that's left the most vulnerable, the elderly and sick, out in the cold and dark.
We've called everybody. CPS has no one to speak to, no one to give us any type of information as to if and when our electricity is going to come back on.
Carlos Correa says he's been checking on his 90-year-old neighbors because power has been completely out since 2 a.m.
We are absolutely sorry that this is occurring. It is an unprecedented weather event that we actually had thought that the cold weather was behind us.
Top CPS Energy officials say the problems are due to equipment failure due to below freezing temperatures and higher than normal utility demands, up to 4 times higher than normal, putting a stress on the grid statewide, forcing them to start rolling outages.
We're hopeful that, the load will come down, maybe some of the units come back online and things will stabilize enough so that maybe a 45-minute outage right now becomes a 30-minute outage, 20-minute outage, a 15-minute outage, down the road.
CPS Energy says it's been in touch with its elderly customers or those with medical equipment they know of who might need assistance.
Letting them know that if they find themselves in a medical emergency where maybe their home gets too cold or their oxygen tank runs out or something happens, to dial 911 and seek medical attention.
The company says they're continuing to bring systems up, make repairs, and keeping customers informed on social media forums, emails, and phone calls, but warns make plans because it's not over yet.
Correa will be checking in on his neighbors, and he urges others to do the same. Now, CPS says the outages will continue, but they urge all Texans to do their part by lowering their energy consumption. That means turning off the lights and turning down the thermostats. Tim, Myra.
Thank you, Patty. Wish someone would explain why the Christmas lights are on the Riverwalk are still on tonight. The power problems are also impacting the San Antonio water system. In a statement, SAW says the outages are impacting some of its pump stations and how quickly they refill. Some customers may experience low water pressure as a result. SAW also says frozen pipes are leading to many residents having water outages. They have some tips to troubleshoot that issue. They include leaving cabinet doors open under sinks to allow warmer air to circulate and allow faucets to drip in various areas of the home to keep water moving.
Electricity, water, and now food. The holiday today meant that Meals on Wheels gave recipients extra meals to keep them fed this President's Day. Meanwhile, the San Antonio Food Bank suspending operations because of the weather tomorrow. That includes food distributions. They plan to keep their community kitchen at Haven for Hope open, though. The Haven for Hope CEO says they're renting generators to help keep their facility up and running.
If power goes off here, it's a disaster. And so we know power's going off. Power's off at my house right now, not here.
Wilson says a few dozen people were brought into the shelter ahead of this cold weather. About 100 volunteers were able to make it to Haven to help.
We are continuing to track all the school delays and closures tonight. San Antonio ISD will not have classes tomorrow. Northeast ISD also canceling their classes. Alamo Heights ISD says problems with connectivity and electricity have led to not having classes tomorrow and Wednesday. We have a full list of all the districts and their plans right now on KSAT.com. We're also tracking businesses and their operations such as HEB. Our web team is updating closures and delays as they come in. You can find those articles right now on the homepage of KSAT.com. Still ahead on the Nightbeat, the San Antonio Zoo sharing some pictures of its animals exploring the snow here in San Antonio. The facility also helping some take shelter.
And the snow may be over, but it's far from all clear out on the roads there. What to expect if you hope to make a morning commute tomorrow? We'll check in with meteorologist Adam Caskey for an update to the forecast.
Plus, the winter weather impacting the vaccine rollout, the change in schedule. Next on the Nightbeat.
Today would usually be time for an update on the response to the pandemic here at home. That did not happen due to the holiday and the weather we're experiencing today. Over the weekend, 746 COVID-19 patients remained hospitalized. The positivity rate stands at 9.7%, but the goal is to get that down to 5%. An update is not expected until Wednesday. COVID-19 vaccine appointments, meanwhile, being impacted by this winter weather as well. If you had an appointment for a dose of the vaccine today at the Alamo Dome, that will be rescheduled for Friday. Tomorrow's appointments at the Dome are now pushed back until Saturday. If you had an appointment at the Wonderland Mall today, that will be rescheduled for Saturday. WellMed says those who are set to receive their second dose of the vaccine tomorrow, those appointments will be rescheduled for February 23rd. At the same time and place. The San Antonio Zoo sharing pictures of its snow day today. There were all sorts of animals, a rhino, a leopard, porcupine, taking the opportunity to check out the fluffy cold stuff. The animals also included a group of giraffes today as well. The zoo says they still had access to their heated barn, but they decided to go out and explore for a bit. The San Antonio Zoo also providing shelter for a couple animals from a nonprofit called Primarily Primates, and they're hoping to receive some supplies like blankets and generators for the cause. We have all that information right now on KSAT.com.
Meanwhile, taking a live look outside with live cam tonight. It is cold. Those animals look cold. I'm cold.
Yeah,
bring back the sun.
How many ways can you say it? 20 degrees out there right now, and we're not out of the woods here just yet, Adam.
No, we are not out of the woods at all. Actually, the refreeze has already begun here tonight. It's icy tonight. It's likely to get icy again tomorrow. And then there's another chance of a little bit of a wintry mix as we get into Wednesday night. A lot to talk about. First, I want to go over some of the records that were broken recently this morning. 9 degrees the low temperature. We shattered the old record. It was also the 8th coldest record or coldest temperature on record. So this morning goes down in the books as the 8th coldest morning we've had since records have been kept in the late 1800s here in San Antonio. How about that? It is the coldest reading since 1989 and the largest snowfall since 1985. Of course, the infamous snow of 1985 of over 13 inches. Last night, officially at the airport, that event, 3.7 inches. Taking a look at TransGuide out there, still some areas of see snow on the roadways and a lot of refreezing. What was all wet today from the sun beating down on the road, warming that surface, and in turn melting the snow on the road. You saw water just gushing down streets. It all quickly froze again. And that's the problem. That's what we're dealing with tonight and through sunrise tomorrow morning. Temperature-wise, pretty much in the teens. I did notice that some of these sites aren't reporting their OBS right now. I don't know what the situation is with that. I'm waiting to get an answer, but we're intermittently getting some of those OBS coming and going tonight. I don't know if it's a factor of rolling outages or what, but that's the reason why your temperature might be a little out of date. It's the actual OBS. By tomorrow morning, some single digits out there, okay? Even in and around San Antonio, we're not just talking the hill country. I think near 8 degrees, Lackland area, Randolph, Converse, about 7, Lavernia 6, Elmendorf 8, Timberwood Park could be down to 4, and even Bernie just a few degrees above 0. By the afternoon, I think we'll thaw for a brief period at to slightly above freezing, but we'll also have the sun working in our favor again tomorrow. So once that sun comes up, give it a few hours to really warm up those roads and sidewalks, and you'll notice improvement out there. And that ice is going to melt again during the daylight hours. If you're looking for the warmer air, need some patience. We're not back to 60 degrees until we get into this upcoming weekend, and we have more freezes ahead of us in the coming mornings, and even what looks like another icing event. Let's talk about it. So the system we had yesterday, it's now causing all this snow through the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley area. Our next system, that's coming in off the Rockies, already producing snow in the mountains. It's going to make it here by about this time tomorrow. So most of the day tomorrow, nothing to worry about, just a lot of sunshine. Temperatures will briefly get above freezing. Here's our future cast. You go through time, and yeah, sunny through the midday. By the afternoon and evening, these clouds start to increase. The energy comes in from the north, and temperatures, of course, drop back below freezing after dark. You add some precipitation to that, and we are expecting a wintry mix, which I think will be largely freezing rain, which is the liquid droplets that freeze right when they hit the ground, or right when they hit your car, or right when they hit a branch. You know how it is. We've been through this lately, and I think we'll see another round of it. It's going to be light in nature. I think this model's a little aggressive in terms of its intensity. It's going to be fairly light, but it doesn't take much to cause the issues. So anticipate travel troubles again tomorrow night as a result of that freezing rain developing probably about this time tomorrow. Up until then, we'll have some sunshine, go from about 9 in the morning to 34 in the afternoon, with that scattered freezing rain developing about this time tomorrow and tapering off by sunrise on Wednesday. Luckily, Wednesday temperatures should take off pretty quickly. So we'll have those issues probably tomorrow night. But once we progress into Wednesday, we're going to warm up. We'll have a little bit of sunshine. That'll go a long way. Slight chance of a mix Wednesday night. And as I mentioned, by this weekend, you can breathe a sigh of relief.
All right, still need some patience, some caution if you got to get out. Thanks, Adam.
A lot to look forward to here this weekend. All right, the Spurs impacted by COVID-19.
This is the second game they've had postponed for COVID-19. I believe this is the first game is because of a positive test on the Spurs. When we come back, we'll give you the latest on how this affects the Spurs rodeo road trip and a chaotic night at Daytona on the final lap look out. Coming up. The NBA has postponed tomorrow's scheduled game between our San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons in Detroit as a result of COVID-19 testing and contact tracing. According to the league, the positive coronavirus test came within the Spurs organization. Due to the health and safety protocols, the Spurs were unable to suit up the required minimum 8 players for tomorrow night's game. This is the second time the Spurs have had a game postponed this season due to the pandemic. The first was less than an hour and a half when they were set to take on the Pelicans in New Orleans back on January the 25th. This was supposed to be their third game of the rodeo road trip this year, which so far they're undefeated. It is unclear if the Spurs will be able to face the Cavaliers in Cleveland on Wednesday in the second game of back-to-backs. Overall, this is the 25th game postponed by the NBA during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our San Antonio Spurs are now 2-0 on the rodeo road trip after back-to-back wins away from the AT&T Center against Atlanta on Friday and last night in Charlotte. The Spurs were embarrassed in the first quarter last night, outscored 33-17, but they bounced back with a vengeance. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, played aggressively, taking it hard at the hoop to help mount the comeback, but it was the Spurs' aggressiveness on defense that also stood out. Keldon Johnson with a steal in the basket. That was one of the Spurs' season-high 14 steals, forcing as many as 18 turnovers that resulted in 27 Spurs points. And on offense, 31 assists. When the Spurs deliver 30 or more assists, a Pop-led team has only lost 11 games in its tenure, and that only fueled the fire delivered by DeJounte Murray and Derek White. The pair combined for 51 points, 26 for Murray to go along with his 12 rebounds, and a season high for White with 25 in the Spurs' 122-110 victory. But getting double digits in boards really helps fuel DeJounte's game and that of his teammates.
I'm an unselfish guy. So I see somebody open, whether it's getting a rebound or the ball come to me. I understand the game of basketball, and I know if somebody's open, that's considered a great play or a great shot. So when I get the boards, I got advantage because I'm quick, and I can just get out and I can push it coast to coast, make the defense collapse and find my shooters or give it up right away. I got to pick my poison.
Not only did Derek White have a season-high 25 points in the Spurs win in Charlotte, he also had 4 of the Spurs' season-high 14 steals that helped force 18 turnovers that resulted in 27 Spurs points, not to mention taking his first charge. So is this the best he's felt since his comeback from his toe injury?
These last couple games, since I sat out that back-to-back, I felt a lot better, and I'm just going to keep working with the training staff and get right.
He made a lot of really, wise plays that we're used to. He looked more frisky. Down the stretch, he made some great plays. Hit a big 3, drove it when they had cut it to 6. So he did a fine job.
All right, the Detroit game postponed now. What about the Cleveland game? Still on right now, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Speaking of the Pistons management, 6-time All-Star forward Blake Griffin have agreed that they will hold him out on the lineup as both the team and Griffin's agent work together to decide his future. The Pistons will continue to pursue trade options while continuing talks of a buyout. The Pistons have decided to focus on rebuilding by playing younger players and are looking forward to moving the 31-year-old to a contender. But Griffin's contract will be a problem because he's owed $36.6 million this season, another $39 million next season, with a trade deadline this year set for March 25th due to the late start. One of the wildest finishes we've ever seen at Daytona. Next.
McDowell in tow. Dillon on the bottom.
The runs on top. Oh, teammates.
It started out crazy, ended the same way as NASCAR dropped the green flag on the 2021 season with the Daytona 500. And there were just 14 laps into the race when all heck breaks loose. A 16-car pilot right out of the gate that started with Joe Gibbs Racing's Christopher Bell getting into it with Eric Almirola, sparking the massive pileup that also collected Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Newman, and Kurt Busch having to clean that up. And then the rains came, causing a 6-hour delay, but not before total chaos at the end. Joey Logano was leading the race right in front of teammate Brad Keselowski, and on the final lap, that's when Keselowski makes his move, and Logano tries to cut him off, and that's when all heck breaks loose again. Michael McDowell avoids the pileup, takes his first ever checkered flag at the Daytona 500, and his first ever win.
Last lap, there's been times where I've made the wrong choice and wrong lane and pushed the wrong guy, and it's just so hard to get in position and to do it, and to get my first Cup win at Daytona. It's just it's unbelievable.
We are learning more about the bull rider that was injured during the Extreme Bulls competition on Sunday. His name is Toby Collins. He's actually from Australia, riding a bull named Kryptonite, where after he was thrown, as you can see, the bull steps on his head. Lucky for Toby, he was wearing a protective helmet. He suffered a concussion, but was able to walk out of the arena on his own. He is not scheduled to compete in any more events here in San Antonio. And in case you have missed this, rodeo officials have postponed tomorrow's competition and performance, moving it to Saturday at 1. Yesterday's rodeo will now be played out on Sunday at 4. So even the rodeo having to make adjustments, even though they were inside.
Mm-hmm. No one has gone unimpacted.
Not at all. You're right.
Thank you, Greg.
We'll be right back.
We started today at 9, only made it to 28 for the high temperature. Tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine, then a wintry mix and